What are the two things that's going to determine largely how much, or is going to dictate largely how much you can charge? Welcome to this video that we are going to examine the two critical things that you must have if you dream to charge highly. Now, these two things that you need, one is certainty and the other is convenience. These are the two things that once you have, it's going to dictate largely how much you can charge or how much people are going to be willing to pay to join your program or to access your course. And another way to think about this, or the opposite of certainty, definitely uncertainty, and the opposite of convenience is definitely work and effort. Think about it. The opposite of certainty is uncertainty, and the opposite of convenience is work or effort. And so in the minds of your prospect clients or customers, uncertainty and work are both equal to risk. That's a very important point for us to note. In the mind of your prospective clients and customers, uncertainty and work both equal to risk. So whenever there is, or wherever there is high amount of risk in anything, people are less likely to do that. I believe this is true to you as a person or the people that you have dealt with. Wherever there is high risk, people are not going to get engaged in that. So when you increase, think with me, once you increase certainty, and if you can increase convenience, then guess what? That will lower risk and increases the chances that people are going to be willing to buy and join at the price that you are suggesting. So the way to think about this is, if I were to illustrate it as a diagram, is like we are going to have two curves. We have the horizontal curve and then the vertical curve. So horizontally, let's divide our graph. Is it the horizontal and vertical? Let's divide it to 4, where we have on the at the bottom, at the beginning of the curve at 0.0. Remember, it begins at 0, it goes, and then from 0, then it goes vertically. So close to that 0 point, let's say that is low reward, low risk. Of course, the vertical axis is going to be risk, and then the horizontal axis is going to be reward, meaning now the higher you go on the vertical, that is higher risk, and then the longer you go on the horizontal, that is high reward. So how is our curve looking like? Our curve, if we are to divide it into 4 pieces, then the closer to 0 will be low reward, low risk. And then vertically, if you follow it, it will be low reward, but high risk because you are on the risk axis. But then once you go horizontally, you first find high reward, but low risk, that is down, and then higher. On top, you find a high reward, high risk. These are the 4 divisions, or the 4, division of our graph. So how does this work now? People are very risk averse. I want us to understand that, especially when it comes to investing their money. Me and you are very risk adverse. We know that. So when we talk about reward, we are basically talking about the goal that you help your target audience to achieve. So if you are not making a big promise, let's say if the promise you're making is not big, if there is some little reward, like the goal that you're helping people to achieve, if it's not so that big, maybe it means that there are two situations here. One is that you've not done a good job at reducing the risk, all right? In this case, you are promising, okay, let me put it this way. If you're not making a big promise, if there is very little reward, like the goal that you're helping people to achieve, maybe not that big, and maybe you haven't done a good work of reducing risk. In other words, if you've not done a good job of increasing certainty and convenience, people are going to view it as high risk and then low reward. They are not going to pay. They are not going to buy. So it's going to have very little chance that anybody is going to be willing to invest. And we're talking about investing high prices, or investing a lot of money. Now, also, if the goal that you help people to achieve is big enough, and you are making some big promises, but if still you've not reduced the risk, again, people are going to still be very hesitant to invest in the program like that. It will be viewed as higher risk, even though it is still better than low reward, low risk. Yes, ideally it's still better than that. But since it is high reward, high risk, now you need to understand that when it comes to selling online, there is an area where it is very difficult to make sales. So we want to do everything we can to lower the risk as much as possible. In all that we are doing, what we have to fight for, what we have to really put in mind is how are we reducing risk? So low reward, low risk, you can sell stuff in that area, but it is still a low ticket stuff. Why? Low reward, low risk. People are not going to be willing to invest a ton of money because the goal that you're promising is not that of the big goal. And at the same thing, on the upper side of my earlier graph, people may be willing to invest, but since, yes, the promise is big, but the risk is high, it is still going to be kind of low ticket stuff. People are not going to be willing to invest a large amount of money. Why? Because the risk is still high. So the sweet spot we want is high reward, low risk. High reward, low risk. There is a big promise that we are making, and the risk is low. The risk, we have low risk. So if we can promise something big, and if we can reduce the risk, then I can guarantee you that we are going to have buyers. So this is a place where we can charge high prices. And if we have a clear, tangible, quantifiable result that people want, in other words, and if that result is big, if the promise is big, and then the risk is low, this is where people are willing to invest their money. So that is what we must be able to do if we want to be able to charge highly, or if we want to be able to have high conversions. So now that means we have to address these two things, certainty and convenience. So let's begin with certainty. So under certainty, the analogy that I want to use is of a lottery ticket. So a lottery ticket offers this incredible result promising. I mean, there are tickets that are promising $1 million jackpot. But the thing is that the level of certainty that you're going to get that result is so low. So in other words, they're saying, some are saying 1 in 300 million. So the chance is that 1 in 300 million, that's the chance. So since the level of certainty is so low, people are only willing to pay like maybe $1 or $2 to buy a lottery ticket. So imagine they will throw their $1, but though the ticket is promising $1 million, because they know that now the chance of them winning is 1 over 300 million. But if we were to increase the level of certainty, let's say to 1 in 10, let's now say that we are selling this ticket that is promising $1 million, and the chance is only 1 out of 10. Same result. But then we are now promising $1 million, which is the result jackpot. But now what have we done? The level of certainty that you're going to achieve that goal or win that jackpot is 1 in 10. You see what we've done? We've increased the level of certainty. Now, because we've increased the level of certainty, the question I put is this: how much do you think that people are going to pay for the lottery ticket? How much do you think? Do you think they're still going to pay $1 or $2? They're not going to pay $1 or $2. They're going to pay tens of thousands of dollars. People are going to throw money at you left, right, and center. Why? Because they are now saying that because of this increased level of certainty, that they can actually, they have higher chance that they can win the ticket. They can have higher chance that they can achieve the goal. So with your program, that's what you want to think. How do you increase the level of certainty that you are telling people that the level, the chances of them achieving their goal is higher? How do you do that? So that comes to the question that once you are packaging or once you're putting together your program, when you are developing the marketing around it, what you want to do is, in order to increase certainty, or in order to increase the level of certainty, what you want to do, number one, is you want to include a bunch of testimonials. I have to give quite so that may sink. You have to increase a bunch of testimonials, especially when now you're dealing with your marketing. If you don't have them, that is fine, but you can get as many testimonials as possible. If you have testimonials, I'm talking about if you have, then you must be able to get as many as possible so that you can include it. But when we talk about this testimonial, maybe for your own information, this could be helpful. There are 3 types of testimonials here. One is testimonial about you as a person and your character. When you're saying, hey, Richard is a great person, he's next to nobody, he's good at what he does, he's very supportive, and blah, blah, blah. All that is just, in other words, the testimony of how good the trainer is. That is number one, or how good the coach is. That's the first level of testimony, and that's usually the lowest level of testimonial. Then the next level of testimonial, which is good, is about how great your program is. Now, this is not necessarily that they have achieved result, but it's just how much they like your program. So you say, no, Richard, this maybe 90 days lead generation course was incredible. You see, it was easy. It was all laid step by step. I was able to get all things implemented within just few hours. The training was very logical and, laid out and all this kind of thing. So it's just the good thing about your program. That is still good. That is good, but mostly what we like, or the good testimony that we want, is not about the first one and the second one that I've given, but we want the testimonial, or a good testimonial should be result-based testimonial, where people are actually saying, hey, I joined Richard's program and I generated 100 leads in my first week. Or I joined Richard's program and I landed 3 high-ticket clients. So maybe I have $15,000 in the bank, you see. That is a result-based testimonial, and that is what you want. Remember, again, we are saying now, these testimonials is what is going to increase the level of certainty. So another, again, there are different kinds of result-based testimonial, but basically, let's say maybe if I was a mindset coach and say, you know what, I went through Richard's mindset coaching, and within the first week, not only did my confidence increase within the first month, but I also, also was able to ask for a pay price from my boss, and I was able maybe to buy a car. I was able to bring the price to something I never thought was able or was possible. It is something about the result they achieved thanks to your program, all right? So those are the type of testimonials that are absolute gold. And those are the kinds that we want, because that is the thing that we need to increase certainty. The other things that increase certainty are basically third-party proof or validation that your method works. If there is a scientific study, or there is a research journal, or maybe a new article that talks about something that you do, but basically something that makes the case, that builds the case that indeed this method that you're teaching is viable and that it works. So any sort of third-party proof or third-party validation that's going to make the argument that what you are saying is true, that the method is going to work for them, any kind of thing like that is going to be able to increase certainty. The other thing that will increase certainty are done for you services. Anything that you can add as maybe a template or a download, maybe a checklist, or a list of resources, go-to resources, or people just don't want try and error. So if you can be able to figure out resources that can help them to achieve the result or to achieve their goals, things like workbooks, study guides, anything that you can add that reduces trial and error, those are things that increase certainty. Those are things that definitely will make certainty shoot to the roof. And those are things that we need. Remember, we said, if we can increase certainty, then their chances of buying will definitely go to the top or to the roof. So the second thing that we need, remember we talked about two things, is certainty and convenience. So we've talked about certainty, where we talked about basically testimonials, third-party validation, and done-for-you services, or done-for-you things that can help them. So those are the three things you need. Now, when it comes to convenience, which is the second thing, we need to be able to increase convenience. So what do we do? Again, the explanation here that I can use, I think the obvious one is with the plane ticket. So you can buy a plane ticket and you can pay, say, $100 for an economy class seat. Or at the same time, you can actually pay for a couple of thousands of dollars for the first class seat. Now, this is very interesting. The result that we are promising is the same. I mean, you get from point A to point B in the same time, the same result. It doesn't mean that now, when you're going to use first class, when you pay first class, then you're going to reach before. No, you have the same. In fact, the plane gets there in the same amount of time. The plane gets in the same place. Everybody in the plane is going to be there in the same amount of time. That's what I'm trying to say. So, and then you even have the same level of certainty. If the plane makes it, all of you makes it. If the plane doesn't, all of you won't. So it doesn't matter whether you have an economy class seat. If the plane crashes, everybody crashes. So you have the same level of certainty that you're going to achieve the result, meaning getting from point A to point B. The only difference between your economy class seat and your first class seat is the level of convenience. So with the first class ticket, you get to enter the plane fast, you get to exit fast, you get your shake bag for free, you get larger seat that is wider with enough legroom, you get a pillow, you get a blanket, you get great meal, you get faster services, you just get better services. And for these people are willing to pay 10 times the price in order to get a higher level of convenience. So we are talking about that VIP experience. So again, with your program, you want to put things there that are going to increase the level of convenience. How will your prospects feel like, they are getting VIP treatment? How do you increase convenience so that they feel like, wow, this is a VIP, this is a first class here. So think about things that's going to help them achieve their goals faster with less effort, or somehow cheaper by saving money or making money in the process. So a lot of things that usually increase certainty also increase convenience. For example, templates, done-for-you services, checklists, workbooks, resources, all these kind of things add convenience to your offer. So you want to think about that. Also, even offering high levels of access to you will also increase, I think this will increase both convenience and certainty. The analogy here that we use is with investing. Let's say that you want to learn how to do investing, or say less how to invest in stock market. So there are two options. You can either buy a $15 book from Warren Buffett, or you can be able to pay a certain amount of money to be next to Warren Buffett. So let's think about it. You can either buy a $15 book written by Warren Buffett that explains his philosophy of investing, or you can have Warren Buffett sitting right next to you, showing you exactly what trades to make and why you should make them. Now, between the two, which one would you prefer? Now, remember that the things that Warren Buffett is going to be telling you to do exactly the same thing that's written in the book. The difference is he is right there showing you how to exactly implement that and put it into practice. So you're going to have a much higher level of certainty that your trades are going to work and that you're actually going to make money if you have Warren Buffett seated next to you. See, so, and then it's also a high level of convenience, because instead of you trying to figure out on your own, try and error, or all those mistakes that you could make are going to be eliminated. Why? Because Warren Buffett, the man himself, is sitting next to you. So you don't have to make those mistakes. So increase the level of certainty and increase the level of convenience. If you can be able to do this, then you can be able to charge highly. For example, one thing that I always recommend my clients to have in all of their programs is like a private Facebook group. Just for your clients, you must be able to have a private Facebook group, some private community where they can ask questions and they get response within 24 hours. But just that extra layer of support, so that confidence, they have that confidence that once they have questions, it is going to be answered, that they are not going to get stuck and they're not going to be lost and not knowing what to do. The other thing the Facebook group does is that it gives you the place to be able to get testimonials. That's where you'll be able to get the screenshots of those testimonials. And mind you, those are absolute gold. So once you get those screenshots, right away, save them in a folder, because you'll use them later in your marketing. The other thing that you can do still is about Q&A sessions, or group coaching sessions, or even one-on-one sessions. You can offer this multiple times a week, or maybe once a week, or maybe multiple times a month. You can decide how often and how much time you're going to give in. But the idea, or obviously here, what we're talking about is more access. The more access you give, the more opportunities they have to connect to you personally, the higher their level of convenience and their level of certainty. The two key words here are convenience and certainty. Once we can increase them, then guess what? Risk is going down. And then, that is where we can charge higher. So add all those things, or you can have, maybe a text message, or maybe a messaging app like Facebook Messenger, or any other form, or WhatsApp, or whatever. Have them in a community where you can be able to interact with them. So these are the things that together will be able to increase certainty and convenience. And these are the two things that largely dictate how much you are able to charge for your program. Once you can achieve this, once you think through these two, convenience and certainty, and look at your situation and say, okay, how do I increase this? This is what is going to allow you to be able to increase your price, or for you to be able to charge highly. And guess what? Because at that point, the risk will have been reduced. And guess what? The certainty will have been increased. And this is where your audience are going to be willing to pay whatever amount you're telling them. So if you do the two and be comfortable, be able to increase your price. Thank you. Until the next video, be able to push the influence, your influence in the world.